Hey everyone, this is Michael again. Welcome to my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, which was Raw 25, Raw 25th anniversary show. And it was hailed from both the Barclays Center in Brooklyn and, of course, the Manhattan Center in New York City in Manhattan. And wish I attended the show tonight at the Barclays Center because I thought Raw 25 tonight I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the show. It was a good show, in my opinion. There was stuff in my mind that I thought, can WWE somehow fuck up this show? But to me, I have to say they did a good job with tonight's show. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. It was like a nostalgic feel with the legends and old schoolers coming back for one night only. And of course, we got the Royal Rumble this Sunday. There was little builds to the women's Royal Rumble and the triple threat between Strowman, Kane, and Lesnar for the Universal title at the Rumble Sunday. But all in all, it was an enjoyable show tonight. I said, wish I could have attended the show tonight, but those tickets were really expensive. They wanted like $200, $300 for like lower level seating. It was like pay-per-view price tickets. So, but the show opened up tonight with Stephanie and Shane in the ring. This was at the Barclays Center. It opened up with both Stephanie and Shane. Both of them welcomed the crowd to the show. Shane says, they like, that both him and Stephanie would like to thank every superstar who stepped in the ring for the past 25 years on Raw. And he also thanks the crowd, for being there and watching for 25 years. And, we look back at Raw's greatest moments during this segment also. It was sort of the intro to Raw 25, which you could see here on YouTube. They uploaded the intro a little bit early before the show even started. I think it was on the weekend they put it up. They put it up early, and I really enjoyed the intro. I thought the intro to Raw 25 was very well done, and it was a cool intro. And then we have Stephanie introduce, the man who developed the show, which is her father, Vince McMahon. And Vince ends up coming out, and the crowd says, thank you, Vince. And Vince is like, no, don't start that, But and then Vince gets on. Vince says, I smell the roses, something like that. And then Stephanie and Shane present their father with a plaque for the 25 years of Raw. And Vince, he's in his Mr. McMahon character. He didn't appreciate the plaque. He says that the plaque felt cheap because, they are in Brooklyn. The crowd ends up calling Vince an asshole because, Vince doesn't appreciate the plaque because Stephanie and Shane said they did a GoFundMe. They set up a GoFundMe account to pay for the plaque. And Stone Cold ends up coming out, which got a big reaction, which was awesome. Stone Cold ends up coming out. Vince is going on saying, "Oh, well, I'm a senior citizen. I have AARP," and he just starts explaining all this to Austin. And Austin then gives Shane a stunner, which was really cool. The crowd popped for that. And we see Stone Cold and Vince, they have a beer in their hands. They're cheering. They both drink it, and they both hug it out. And then Austin, like old times, Austin ended up stunning Vince, which was cool. The crowd popped for that also. And then we saw Shane ended up getting up. He has a beer in his hand. He cheers Austin, with the beer. And then Austin stunned Shane for a second time, which was great. But the whole segment was really good. Nostalgic feel, it was like a throwback to the Attitude Era. I just really enjoyed it. So, and Austin didn't have a mic in his hand. He didn't talk. He just listened to what Vince had to say. But it was enjoyable. It was a good segment. I really liked it. And then we kick off the first match. It was an 8-woman tag team match. It was Sasha Banks, Bayley, Asuka, and Mickie James versus Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Nia Jax, and Alicia Fox. And this match was decent. It was back and forth. And you had Sasha end up going up with Sonya Deville in the match. And in the end of the match, everybody started brawling outside the ring. It was only Alicia Fox and Sasha Banks in the ring. Sasha Banks won the match for her, Bayley, Asuka, and Mickie James by applying the bank statement on Alicia. So, and then we had, after the match, Asuka ended up throwing out Mickie James over the top rope. Also Bayley. Sasha tried to take her out, but Asuka ended up kicking Sasha and threw Sasha over the rope. Setting up a little hype for the Women's Royal Rumble on Sunday, coming up this Sunday. So, but all in all, it was a decent match. It was a decent 8-woman tag team match. With a little hype for the Women's Rumble, what Asuka did. And a lot of people say that Nia Jax is going to be the one, hopefully, to win the Women's Royal Rumble. So I could see that, though. I could see Nia possibly winning the Women's Royal Rumble. So, and then after the 8-woman tag team match, we had a segment with Kurt Angle in his office. Jonathan Coachman ends up walking in. Jonathan Coachman was a former commentator on Raw back in the day, and he was one of Vince's personal assistants. Back during the Ruthless Aggression era, like 2006ish. And really happy to see Coach back, Jonathan Coachman. Returned for a one night only return. And a lot of other old schoolers and legends come in. We saw Harvey Whippleman. We saw the Brooklyn Brawler. Former SmackDown General Manager Teddy Long, Theodore Long entered. We had Brother Love. And then what was funny was the Boogeyman. Actually, the Boogeyman came in and destroyed like the whole celebration because they were all celebrating. And then once Boogeyman came in, that's when everything came to a standstill. And Boogeyman's just in there, and he ends up putting worms into Jonathan Coachman's hand, which was really funny though. But I used to like Boogeyman back in the day when he was on SmackDown. The Boogeyman was just a fun character. So, but it was a good segment with them. I liked it. And then we went to the Manhattan Center, and Undertaker ended up coming out. He ends up coming out with his old gear that he used to wear, and he comes out. He says, the carnage began here 25 years ago, and he ends up saying for 25 years he's been digging holes, and anyone that stepped foot in the dark side got buried. He also says, he took legends and ripped them off their pedestals. He mentioned, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Kane, Mick Foley, all the people that, he fought. All of them went up against him, and they all failed. And, he goes on to say, everything, anybody that gets in his way will rest in peace. So, it was cool. It was a good segment with Undertaker. Pretty much what I thought. Taker was going to close the show, and him and Cena were going to probably have like a stare down, setting up for a match at WrestleMania, because there's been a lot of talk saying that Taker and Cena are going to have a match, and it's going to be a sort of a retirement match for Taker. But eventually that didn't happen tonight. So, but it was cool seeing Taker there, and he was in his old gear. It was really awesome. And then we went back, I think, to the Barclays. We saw the APA, Farouk and JBL. They were with Heath, Slater, and Rhyno. They were playing poker, like old times, with the APA. The APA back then, with Farouk and JBL, they would always used to play poker. And, people would enter their office just through a door. And it was like old times. It was nostalgic right there. And then we saw Ted DiBiase. He came in, and then he starts playing poker with them. Cool seeing Ted DiBiase there, the $1 billion man. So it was awesome. It was really good. Sorry about that, but after we had that segment with the APA, Heath, Slater, and Rhyno, and Ted DiBiase, they bought out all the GMs from Raw over the years. They bought out People Power, John Laurinaitis, Eric Bischoff, the best, I would say the best GM that Raw has ever had. We had William Regal. Also, Daniel Bryan also came out because he was one of the great performers for Raw when he was on there. Started the whole Yes movement. That great moment that happened in 2014. So, but it was cool. Really liked it. And then we had The Miz come out, setting up for the match between him and Roman Reigns, and that's what the match was. That's what happened next. It was the match, The Miz versus Roman Reigns for the Intercontinental title, and this was a good match. Really liked the match. It was back and forth between Miz and Roman Reigns. Miz was really impressive in this match. Sorry about that, but I was saying Miz was really impressive in this match. And, the Miztourage, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas were getting involved in it outside. Roman Reigns was watching his back for both of them. And he had one point where Miz ended up taking off the turnbuckle, and the ref didn't see it. Nobody was looking at it. And, since the Miztourage was getting involved, the ref ended up throwing them out, sending them to the back. And pretty much led to Miz getting the upper hand. Roman Reigns goes into the, the turnbuckle, the steel turnbuckle. And then Miz ends up winning the match with the skull crushing finale to Roman. After Roman went into the exposed turnbuckle. So Miz wins it. He wins back the Intercontinental title with the skull crushing finale. So only way Roman won the Intercontinental title was to keep it until Miz returned after Miz finished filming the Marine 6. And I knew that. I knew that Roman just wanted to keep it warm for Miz when he returns. So, but happy that Miz won back the Intercontinental title because he deserves that. I mean, over the years I've been back and forth between with Miz, but recently he's gotten good on the mic. Really like the promos that he cut. Especially the Talking Smack one when him and Maurice were still on SmackDown. And Miz has just really been impressive. And for him to win back the Intercontinental title, really liked it. But all in all, it was a good match. And then we go back and we see the APA. They're still playing poker. And we see now Jeff Hardy, Brother Nero, and MVP playing poker with them. And I didn't know that MVP looked a little different. I'm like, that's MVP, because that's not how I remember him. I remember him. He had like dreadlocks, in his hair, and that's how I remember MVP. He just came out like that, but he looked different here. So, but yeah, it was funny with the APA. Good seeing MVP here. Really would like to see him back. Then we had Christian in the ring. He was doing the peep show like old times. Really liked seeing Christian back. I was a fan of Christian. And he brings out his guests, Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins, and the Brooklyn crowd was just booing the hell out of Jason Jordan. While Jason was thanking everybody, for 25 years, of Raw, and the crowd was just booing him, and he couldn't even get out words. He was being booed just like how Roman was being booed the Raw after WrestleMania this year, when Roman beat Taker. And if you remember, that Raw, it started with Roman Reigns, and the crowd was just booing the hell out of him really loud, and not, Roman couldn't get a word out of his mouth. That's how Jason Jordan was tonight. That's how the crowd was with Jason Jordan tonight. It was just like how Roman Reigns got booed the night after the Raw, the night after WrestleMania last year. So, and then we had Cesaro and Sheamus come out. Sheamus says to Jason, that he needs to slow down, and he says the Stars and Old Schoolers wanted to get pics with them, Cesaro and Sheamus. And Cesaro says to Jason that his dad Kurt doesn't suck, and he said to him that he sucks. And then they start a "You suck" chant, which pissed Jason Jordan off. And then Jason Jordan takes out Cesaro and Sheamus. Seth goes through the rope, does a suicide dive through the ropes. Jason tries for Seth to take out Cesaro. Cesaro then moves out of the way, and then we just see Seth knee Jason accidentally. So, but it was a good set. It was a decent segment. I liked it. I was happy to see Christian back. you know, just for one night only. It was cool seeing him. And then we had after that we had Alexa Bliss being interviewed, you know, about, you know, is she still going to be champion at, you know, WrestleMania? Alexa says, you know, she's not just a champion, and she is a goddess. Charlotte comes and says the only reason Alexa is champion is because, you know, she got drafted to Raw, and that she was, and that, you know, she won't be the champion come Mania, you know, come after WrestleMania. Ric Flair ends up coming and says, you know, Charlotte will be champion until it's time to hang up her boots. It was a enjoyable segment with them. And yeah, I forgot to mention today I was in downtown Brooklyn with some friends. We went over to take pictures with WWE superstars there because they were staying at a hotel. And Alexa Bliss ended up, you know, coming out of the hotel, and, you know, just a lot of people, just people that were over there were just, you know, circling her, and, you know, she was trying to get to a car, and, you know, kind of felt, you know, like, kind of felt really bad for her, you know, because everybody was crowding up against her, and, you know, they were in a rush to get to the arena, but she did take the time to get pictures and sign stuff. But just the people were just crowded all over her, you know, having you know, stuff for her to sign, you know, putting it all in her face. You know, if they're in a rush, just let them go and leave them alone. You know, next time they're back in town, you know, just wait patiently until they come out. So, you know, if they're in the mood to sign in or take pics, you know. But I had to bring that up. I got pics with people. I got a second pick with Charlotte for the second time. I got Sonya DeVille, and I also got Natalya. She was really awesome, and also got Booker T. He was cool, and also yeah, that's pretty much the photos that I got. I'll show you guys the photos. Oh yeah, so here's Booker T. Got a photo with him. Paige, she was in the car. She was really cool. I asked her for a picture. She's like, yeah, sure. You know, that's when because Alexa got in the car with her. There's Natalya. And second pick with Charlotte. I got her before, I think last year or 2 years ago. And then there's Sonya Deville. So, but yeah, that's all the superstars I got today. But yeah, this the Samsung Note 8. Had this for a couple of months. It's a pretty good phone. It's gonna be my new phone because I'm gonna be replacing my iPhone 5S. So, but yeah, I just had to do that. I just had to show you guys that and tell you guys, you know, what went on today. So, but back to the review. After that segment with Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, and Ric Flair, we ended up going back to the Manhattan Center, and we had Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy, and this match was pretty good. I liked it. It was enjoyable. Thank God we didn't have to wait until the Rumble for this match, but really liked it. It was back and forth. Matt Hardy was trying to dominate the match and take out Bray Wyatt, but Bray ended up coming back, and he hit the Sister Abigail on Matt Hardy to score the win. So, but well, it was a pretty good match. Was entertaining in my opinion. And then we went back to the Barclays Center, and they were introducing, you know, the greatest female superstars of all time for Raw. And then they had the Bella Twins, you know, Brie and Nikki come out. We had Lillian Garcia. We had Maurice Kelly, which Kelly looked good. So yeah, we had the Bellas, Maurice Kelly, Lillian Garcia, Jacqueline, WWE Hall of Famer Jacqueline, Tori Wilson. Really enjoyed seeing her again. It's been a while since I've seen Tori Wilson on WWE TV. She still looks good. And we had Michelle McCool come out. She looked good as always. You know, since the last time we saw her. We had Terry Reynolds, Maria Kanellis, and of course another WWE Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus. So was happy to see her there. She was one of my favorite woman superstars back in the day. You know, I enjoyed her rivalry with her and Lita. I think, in my opinion, they were the female Stone Cold and Rock. You know, but it was good seeing Trish Stratus there. And then we saw Elias and Jericho backstage. Jericho, said that he wrote a song about Elias and his scarf. And Jericho sings and says, Elias is a stupid idiot, and he just made the list. Which the crowd really popped for that. The crowd really enjoyed that. He's like, when Elias walked off, Jericho was like, that's a stupid scarf. But it was funny though. Enjoyed seeing Jericho there. After coming off of his New Japan match with Kenny Omega. And then after that, we had Elias in the ring. He was singing. He was talking shit about Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Chris Jericho, and also The Rock. It was pretty boring. Elias in the ring. It's like, when he sings, it's like, ugh, just let it end. Then we had John Cena come out and says, now the crowd is awake and loud. And Cena came out. The crowd was, doing the whole famous John Cena sucks, that whole chant to his song. And everybody was booing. The crowd was booing Cena, the Brooklyn crowd. We actually cut to a beach ball being thrown at the crowd. Thrown in the crowd. Security came and caught it, and all you just heard was the crowd booing. So that beach ball ban that they did after the Raw I attended last year, the Raw after SummerSlam, they said that the beach balls were banned from WWE shows. Well, apparently it failed. Though it's only going to happen in Brooklyn. It's only going to happen here in New York. But yeah, so that ban failed. So then we had during that, Elias tells Cena to shut up, and that Cena ruined his performance. Cena says to Elias to do something about it. And then Cena ends up taking down Elias, hitting him with a 5-knuckle shuffle. And then Cena's trying to go for the AA. And then Elias just low blows Cena, which was old school though. And then Elias took his guitar, and he comes back in the ring and hits Cena with it. The guitar breaks, and then he hits Cena with the drift away to end the segment. So it was a decent segment. with Cena and Elias. And then we saw Mark Henry and the Godfather, which was really cool. The Godfather was with his wife, Olivia. You know, they were just talking memories. You know, Godfather was talking to his wife, saying, "Oh yeah, back in the day, Mark Henry used to be called Sexual Chocolate," and it's actually true. You know, during the Attitude Era, Mark Henry was known as Sexual Chocolate. So, but it was cool. It was cool seeing Mark Henry and Godfather again. You know, Mark Henry just, you know, recently retired from the ring. So, but it was cool to see the both of them. And then, you know, there's something with, you know, Heath Slater and Rhyno with the APA and Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil. And, you know, it ended up being like this little fight. And then JBL says, you know, if you want to fight, go out to the ring. And so that's when, you know, Slater and Rhyno walked out, also Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. And that ended up setting up a match. So it was Heath Slater and Rhyno versus Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. And pretty much in this match, you know, Slater was in the match. And then you had Apollo Crews hold up Slater for a very long while, you know, to slam Slater. And Apollo ended up slamming Slater down. And then it went to commercial. And then as it came back from commercial, Heath Slater, Rhyno, Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews was just going at it. And then the referee had to call off the match. Sorry about that. But the ref had to end up calling off the match because all of them were brawling. So the match ended in a no contest. And then we had the Dudley Boys come out. The Dudley Boys wanted either both, you know, tag teams, you know, Heath Slater, Rhyno, Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews to come in the ring with them. And what was funny was they all ended up throwing in Heath Slater. And then we saw the Dudleys do the wazah to him. You know, the wazah. And so, you know, Devon leapt off the top and onto, you know, Slater. And then they ended up putting Heath Slater through the table with 3D, which was very funny. It was really enjoyable. Really like seeing the Dudley Boys again. Then after that we had AJ Styles was being interviewed about his title defense on Sunday in a 2-on-1 handicap match at the Rumble. Styles took the mic and he introduced you know, legendary interviewer Mean Gene Okerlund, which Mean Gene, you know, he got really old but still looked good. Mean Gene then conducted an interview to Styles about Styles heading into his match Sunday against Owens and Sami Zayn. Styles says, you know, Cammy, as what he calls Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. He says, you know, Cammy is thinking they are going to walk out of the Rumble as co-champions. And Styles says, you know, it's not going to happen, and that the last thing that will be ringing in both of their ears is, you know, the announcement of him retaining the WWE title. So it was a pretty fun interview with Styles. You know, good to see Mean Gene there. And Styles did a little Hulk Hogan there, and he goes, "Oh, you know something, Mean Gene? Let me tell you something, Mean Gene." And then we hear just Mean Gene go, "Oh God." It was funny though. But yeah, it was a fun little interview. And then we head back to the Manhattan Center, and we have the DX reunion. Triple H and Shawn Michaels end up coming out. You know, Triple H says to the crowd that, you know, we are here because of, you know, the crowd, you know, because of the people who, you know, watched, you know, for the 25 years. And, you know, they say, you know, they walked into the ring with, you know, the legendary Rick Rude and also the ninth wonder of the world, China. You know, both of them, you know, may they rest in peace. And you know, they said they would do, you know, at that time, you know, they would do or say what they wanted, you know, when they were, you know, back in the day, which, you know, if you watched on the Attitude Era, you know, with DX, you know, with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and, you know, Rick Rude, China. You also had the New Age Outlaws, X-Pac. And what was cool is the New Age Outlaws ended up coming out. X-Pac ended up coming out, you know, for more of the DX reunion. And what was really funny was the crowd was chanting to X-Pac. They were chanting 1, 2, 3 to him. You know, because of course X-Pac before his name was X-Pac, it was the 1, 2, 3 Kid. And you know, he had the famous match with Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, which X-Pac ended up beating him. You know, in the May 1993 Raw. So, and then you know, Scott Hall ended up coming out. X-Pac introduces Scott Hall, and for some reason it went to commercial. And then when it came back, you know, Scott Hall was just in the ring, and he was like, "Hey yo," you know, just cutting, you know, like a little promo. And then we had the Balor Club come out, you know, Finn Balor, Gallows, and Anderson, and everybody in the ring, all gave a too sweet, which was awesome. Then we had the Revival come out, and that set off a match between them and Gallows and Anderson. And that's what the match was, Gallows and Anderson versus the Revival. And this was okay match. Wasn't great or perfect by any means though, but it was just Gallows and Anderson there. The Revival was getting the upper hand on Gallows and Anderson, but in the end, Gallows and Anderson won the match. They hit the Magic Killer to Dash Wilder, and after the match, we had DX and everybody there beat down on the Revival, which was cool. And then after that, we had the main event segment where Kurt Angle ended up coming out with backup for the Brock Lesnar, Kane, and Braun Strowman sort of stare down, sort of, you know, meet. And you know, we had Strowman end up coming out, and then Kane came out second. Brock Lesnar, of course, came out last. And then we saw Strowman was in the ring. Strowman clotheslined Kane. And then Strowman ended up getting out of the ring. And then Lesnar just comes out of nowhere, hitting Strowman with a clothesline outside. Lesnar gets in the ring, and he F5s Kane. Strowman ends up coming in, throws Lesnar around, goes outside, you know, goes outside the ring, and we see Strowman just throw Lesnar into the barricade. And then we see Strowman, you know, tearing apart the announce table. And we just see Strowman then hitting a running power slam on Lesnar. And he drives Lesnar into the table. You know, Lesnar's down on the broken table. And that pretty much ends. That pretty much ended Raw 25. You know, a little, you know, hype for their Rumble match Sunday, the triple threat for the Universal title. So I'm looking forward to this match. I'm looking forward to it on Sunday. I have to say, you know, I want Strowman to win the match and win the title, but I know it's not going to happen. It's probably going to come down to either Lesnar or Kane to win the Universal title. You know, Lesnar may retain it. Kane may be the new Universal champion. So we'll just have to wait and see Sunday to see who will win it. But knowing WWE, it's not going to be, Strowman's not going to win it. He's not. Because they're just, they're just building up, hype, thinking, WWE is thinking people, that people are thinking that Strowman's going to win the match. But technically, he's probably not. So, but yeah, I really like that. There's a little, hyped up for their match. So, yes. Anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, which was Raw 25. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow night for my SmackDown review and a review of the Mixed Match Challenge tomorrow night. So I'll review SmackDown and then the Mixed Match Challenge and the SmackDown review. So until that video, I'll see you all back here tomorrow night.